Welcome back, chess friends and lovers of chess. Thanks for joining me here on my channel, Stephen Sturgill. Let's take a look at another game, yet still, of the late great Paul Keres, the Pope of Chess, the uncrowned king, Paul II. In this game, Paul was fighting a very, very interesting opponent. Not a grandmaster, but he probably could have and should have been. He was awarded ultimately the titles of International Master and also International Master of Correspondence Chess, which is some people consider even more difficult to do because moves tend to be much better than over the board, and you have so much more time to think about moves, things like that. And this was way, way pre-home computer and chess engines. His opponent was Connell Hughes, or Connell O'Donnell Hughes Alexander, born in Cork, Ireland, to a, I guess, upper middle class, would be fair to say, or solid middle class, Anglo-Irish family. His father was killed in the Irish Independence War, and they moved to Birmingham, England. He went to school, led Oxford in chess. Anyways, ultimately worked with Alan Turing in cracking the German codes during World War II, and his character was portrayed in The Imitation Game. Anyways, very interesting, super high level, extremely intelligent, very, very advanced at mathematics and code breaking. So I just want to point that out, that this was not some kind of whatever at chess amateur. This was a high level. He also captained various chess teams, I believe, at the college level, maybe even later. Anyways, check his page out at Wikipedia if you want to study that more. Very interesting individual, to say the least. This game was played in 1954 at Hastings. Oh, I should mention one more thing about Connell O'Donnell Alexander. Right around this same year, or shortly, roughly, he tied with Bronstein, however you want to say it, one of the foremost chess grandmasters to ever walk the planet Earth. Probably also another individual that maybe missed his perfect opportunity to become a world champion, much like Korchnoi. And he actually finished ahead of Talush, or Talush, however you say it, another very famous Soviet grandmaster. Okay, at any rate, back to the game. This was a Petrov, and I'm using a Petrov here to kind of in honor of Fabiano Caruana and in honor of the so many Petrovs that we're seeing now trotted out, not only by Favi, but other grandmasters now in super tournaments. So long live the Petrov. Here we go. Get the board active. E4. E5, knight f3, knight f6, knight takes pawn, d6, knight back to f3, knight grabs that pawn, d4 is the standard theoretical move, d5, just sort of cementing that knight to a point, bishop d3, bishop e7, castles, knight c6. Backing up, castles is considered slightly more accurate, but it's really, well, it's debatable. What am I saying? They're roughly equal. And also knight f6 and h6 are also very, very strong, decent tries that have been trotted out many, 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 many times. And let's face it, this is not a, oops, what is going on with my cam? Okay, it's behaving a little bit. Okay. Sorry about that. This is not a theoretical treatise on the Petrov, so I'm not going to go over that many variations. Just take a look at the game, and we'll get to the critical juncture. Knight c6, rook e1, bishop g4, c3, probably the most precise move in the position. Knight retreats to f6, bishop g5, bishop g5, It's a good move. It's not really rated anywhere near the highest necessarily, but it's certainly very strong and playable, and it's been trotted out many, many times, especially around this time period. Queen d7, knight d2. That is knight b1, d2 obviously. Black castled. And I'm wondering, is that... Yeah, I didn't think so. I think here Alexander really should have castled kingside, and black's worse here, but not mega worse, right? Just a bit worse. But castling long is, I think, a bit much, honestly, and this gives white a lot more pull than he would have had otherwise. This is about a 0.70 centipawn difference, so it's approaching an entire pawn difference. That's pretty severe. But at any rate, this is theory wasn't anywhere near what it is now. And again, Alexander was very busy doing far more important things. Not that I don't love chess, I certainly do. But let's face it, wartime was, breaking codes. That was a lot more important. At any rate, queen sallied out to a4. Not really the most accurate move for Keres. Much stronger here would have been something like h3 or b4 or even bishop b5. Even queen c2, with the idea possibly of striking on h7 after exchanges potentially with the knight, would have been a much stronger move. But it's interesting because you're sort of titillating black with this move, saying, I'm coming, what are you going to do? And of course you are aiming, in fact, for the a7 or a6 pawn at some point. So I understand the move. I just don't think ultimately it's definitely not the most laser guided precise move. But maybe putting the question back into Alexander's lap, saying, hey buddy, do you know my exact plan? I'm coming for you. What are you going to do to stop it? One thing I do like about white's position here is that bishop on e7 looks a little bit tenuous. If you can get the queen out of the way and that knight, then it's fair game, right? At any rate, white is just very comfortable in this position. h6, bishop h4, g5, of course, bishop g3. And now that king pawn, black's king pawn, is looking very, very tender indeed. Black thought fit to snap off that rook. Not so sure that was the hottest move. It's a move. It's certainly playable. It's a good move. Machine here is giving me bishop d6 is a really hot alternative. Knight d4 is an interesting try, probably giving a little too much juice back to white's camp. At any rate, if you let the knights run rampant, they're going to jump all over this position at some point. And again, knights are not limited to color complexes. They can hop in on dark squares. They can hop in on light squares. I get it. And if black just stays passive, it's going to be all over a lot sooner than it would have been. Snap, snap with the knight. g4. Knight e5. Knight takes. Now, I would ask you guys, what would you play here? This is the critical or a critical juncture in this game. White queen is now on prise. After black is... Now, understandably, it's white's move. What would you play here? How about bishop f5 on prise, hanging in thin air, unprotected? Queen did in fact take the bishop, and I'm sure you can see the follow-up, or one of them. Rook e5, winning a tempo. Queen dropped back to d3, which is a pretty bad move, in all honesty. Bishop's gone. Rook d7, one bad move often deserves another, and rook d7, guys, was not the money shot. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Rook e3, winning another tempo yet still. Queen offering exchange. He took it rather wisely and played this move. And now, oh, excuse me, wait a minute. After this move, O'Donnell, Hughes O'Donnell, Alexander resigned. Because at this point, there's no saving the game. You're just going to learn. You're going to lose reams of material. Now let's back up a bit. If you were wondering what happened, this move also is totally winning. Wait, bishop exchange is better, excuse me. And then if this, then you get this. And it's a slowish, trudging type of game. But white is clearly better and should definitely win the game, barring any ridiculousness. What else? Let's see. There's something else somewhere around here I was trying to... I know I'd worked out a variation. At least I thought I had. Oh yeah. In this position, guys, I want to point out that bishop b5 is very, very strong. And for example, if pawn takes knight... I'm recording. Please don't bother me. Sorry about that, guys. Then you would see a continuation like this. Bishop is snacked on, and here's where, here's what I found very, very interesting. As white, I would feel as a much lower rated player that I'm just giving way too much up in this position. Black gets my queen. Yes, I have some compensation, but it's a little creaky, and I'm not sure I'm up to the task. But in truth, you would get this incredible shot of rook c7. Maybe not that incredible. Maybe you already saw it. Discovered, and you win black's queen back. So, just shows my lack of calculation ability, I guess. But there's still a lot of work to do in this type of position. It's definitely not a foregone conclusion, but white is, for example, a lot better in this type of line. And there are other moves here, but just for example, you get this is the type of play that one might expect in this type of scenario. And it's definitely quite tricky, very positional. There's a lot of things to keep track of. In fact, I'm not sure that's even the best continuation. Let me back up. Yeah, I think, here rook b4 is a lot more accurate. But anyway, that's just neither here nor there. Just wanted to show some possible modern style continuations, very high level. And what else? Here, knight bd2 is a very classic try in the Petrov for white, and you can play this type of gameplay where you bring the knights over kingside. You're striking. You're at least looking at h7. I'm not going to talk about these moves too much. Just kind of giving some flavor of potential continuations in the Petrov. Lots of tactics, as in all openings, but Petrov can either be very dry or have a lot of bizarre fireworks, depending on the lines that you're willing to entertain or go in for. And if you don't know your stuff, you can get into a world of hurt. For example, here, if white was sleeping and just say, took the knight, well, ba-bang, hello, yeah, mate in one. So lots of little details to be aware of. I'm not going to go too much further in this line. Just want to show the type of play that white can typically get. I think there was some kind of inaccuracy here. Anyways, that's not the game, so that's neither here nor there. Let's just back up and I'll go through the game one more time. And that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this game. A pretty interesting game played between two very interesting individuals. Again, in a Petrov, Paul Keres versus Connell Alexander. And certain lines in the Petrov really haven't changed much. At the same time, there has been a lot of modern developments along certain lines, so I'm definitely not wanting you to take that as a blanket statement. But a lot of the ideas have certainly remained the same. Again, castling long was not in black's best interest, in all honesty, but I'm sure it was playable, just not that accurate. Definitely too weakening. And I'm wondering here, though, if I already looked at that. I was also wondering here, just briefly, I could pause. I normally don't do this. Yeah, I think this knight d2 coming around the mountain would have been extremely entertaining. There's ideas of shoring up c4, ideas of knight b3, just letting the knight chill there on d2 for a while, and just trying to get a pawn storm going. Let's see, what would black do here? I'm wondering, can white now just push this pawn immediately? Probably. Yeah, just kick that knight. And this looks very, very dangerous to me for black. I'm not sure that last move was the most exact for white. Maybe. Here, I'm kind of wondering about just snapping off this knight. That's just too much. Yeah, I thought so. What about knight b3 immediately with ideas of hopping in? Is that any good? Still good, not considered quite as strong. It's interesting though. I don't know. It's thinking about it. It's going up now in rating. Let's see where this would go. To an extent, so I feel like bishop takes is very strong for white here. Some very, very rich ideas here in the Petrov. Yeah, at any rate, white is simply better here, and there's lots of ideas, lots of lines to consider. Don't want to waste all night looking at that. It is definitely very, very worth checking out. But back to the game's continuation. Let's see, where were we? Catch up here. Yeah, of course, this was the game line. And I thought that bishop f5 is just so unusual looking. But at least to this type of situation. And that was a bad move on Alexander's part. And then that was the kill shot. Pretty interesting game. Kudos to both players for playing a very interesting game. Obviously, Alexander not at the level of Paul, but I have no doubt that had Alexander gone fully into chess, he probably would have been able to mix it up with the world's top 20 or 30 without a shadow of a doubt. Maybe might have ended up cracking the top 10. Who knows? We'll never know, but food for thought. Anyways, hope you enjoyed that game. I'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks so much, guys. Have fun studying, playing, and learning and living all there is to know about chess, or at least adding it to your daily habits or studies. All the best. We'll see you next time. Peace out.